Welcome to another episode of This Woman Works. I am your host, Mike Patton. And on this episode, I have a very special guest, someone that has done a lot and does a lot of great and wonderful things and does so with a smile and exuberance and grace that we all could probably would love to have with everything that we do. Uh, would you like to introduce who you are and where you represent, I should say?
Sure. So my name is Shanelle Gabriel. I'm a poet, singer, communications consultant, and a lupus advocate. And I'm from Brooklyn, New York, by way of Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah,
Okay.
that's me in a nutshell.
All right. Brooklyn, stand up. All
BK.
right. But yeah, I want to I want to thank you for coming on the show, and we're going to get into your story and just your journey. But before we do all that, like with every episode, we do the Black Girl Magic Moment, and on this episode, we're keeping it New York, and we're gonna go Mary J. Blige. Now, for those that don't know, Mary J. Blige is born January 11th, 1971. She was born in the Bronx. Actually, moved to Georgia and started her career singing in the early child. Well, started singing in her early childhood in Richmond Hills, Georgia, actually, which I don't think any of that's on anyone's bingo card. Of course, she sang there in a Pentecostal church. Would later move back to New York and move to Yonkers. Actually, she unfortunately was molested and sexually abused or sexually harassed, I should say, from her peers when she was growing up, and that kind of led to her dropping out of school at her junior
Mm,
year. But from there, she actually started to pick up the singing and potential singing career. So that was definitely something I was like, okay, she picked up the singing career. But in 1988 is when it actually popped all off. She happened to record an impromptu cover of Anita Baker's Caught Up in the Rapture at a recording booth in the Galleria Mall in White Plains, New York. Her mother's boyfriend, actually, got the tape of it, got it to Jeff Red. For those that don't know, watch it's a movie in the 90s. Jeff Red has a song on that soundtrack. You
you
called and
called
told
and
me.
told
Yeah.
me that you want.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, he actually is the one that helped discover Mary J. Blige. He got
Mm,
the tape to the CEO of Uptown Records, Andre Harrell. Andre Harrell meets with Mary J. Blige, and boom, she signed in 19. I believe 19. I'm looking at my notes here. Give me 1 second. 1989, at the age of 18, making her the youngest and first female artist of Uptown Records. Of course, 1992, that's when the journey began. Of course, she dropped What's the 411? And of course, that had, let's see, You Remind Me, Love No Limit, Real Love, Sweet Thing remake, that, of course, Shaka Khan feels a way about, but, we're not going to discuss that here. and, and of course, she was given the nickname the Queen of Hip Hop Soul. November 29th, 1994, My Life drops. Of course, My Life and Be Happy. Some of the records on there. Let's see. She did the song Not Gonna Cry, Waiting to Exhale. I know plenty of black women that I know loved that song to death. Let's
hmm
see. Then, of course, Uptown is no more. She goes to MCA. April 20th, 1997, Share My World comes out. Of course, you got Share My World, Love Is All We Need, and I Can Love You with Lil Kim. I know everyone was vibing to that song at that point in time. 1999, the Mary album comes out. All That I Can Say, Your Child was on that one. August 28th, 2001, No More Drama. Of course, Family Affair, the Dr. Dre produced track, and No More Drama. Now, first, she had a particular style. She changed up her style as her career has gone on, and she has still been, dropping hits. I mean, of course, my mama loves the song Good Morning Gorgeous. She will never not say that's not a great song. So Mary J. Blige has been doing this for three, 4 decades at this point, and she's showing no signs of slowing down. She still is going to be giving us hits. Black Girl Magic Moment, Mary J. Blige. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, I don't. I think that, like, it's a really like she's done such great work over the years, and I'm excited. I'm excited for her to be able to like continue making music. She's doing acting now, all of those different things. And I
Mhm.
don't know, I'm curious if anybody out there is a fan out there, but I definitely have been a fan.
Yeah, she definitely did her thing on with with 50 Cent and the Power universe, definitely for sure. And of
Mm.
course I remember her in the Tyler Perry movie with Taraji P. Henson. I Can Do Bad All by Myself, I believe was the name of that movie.
Oh, that was definitely a big song. What was it?
Mhm. I can't remember what the name of
A
that
movie,
song
a
was,
movie. I
but
can't remember. I can't remember the song, but it was definitely a big song.
yeah, I remember that. I remember the performance on the stage. Even though I will say the story was a little fantastical because they go from hating each other now she getting married at the end. The dude, I'm like, but okay, I let it slide. We gonna have a happy ending, so it's all good. But it did kind of seem like, oh, I don't know about that one. But anyway, definitely wanted to salute Mary J. Blige on this episode of This Woman Works. This is actually episode number 50. Did you know that? Yes, you
No, I
are
didn't.
magic.
I didn't.
You're magical episode number 50.
Ah, 50. I hope I didn't mess nothing up. I was trying to share this to my Facebook too. I hope I didn't mess nothing up by trying to share it to my Facebook. Are you still good?
No, no, we all good. We all good, and it's over there, of
Okay.
course.
Cool,
But
cool,
of
cool.
course, we have to talk about you because this is your episode. But of
Not
course,
Mary J.
to get to
Blige.
know, right, right. But of course, to get to know you, we have to go all the way back. We have to go all the way back to your childhood, growing up in. Did you grow up in Brooklyn, by the way?
I grew up, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Young
Brooklyn.
Chanel.
I gotta do that like every time. I gotta do that every time when I say that.
BK all
Brooklyn.
day, Brooklyn, And people like this. I've been having a lot of people ask, they're like, "Oh, you don't have an accent." And I'm like, I definitely can have an accent if I like want to talk like that, but I don't know. I've been all over the place and kind of got settled in whatever I sound like right now. But no, I'm very much
Hmm.
a Brooklyn girl. Grew up in Flatbush, Brooklyn, in the little West Indies, the little Caribbean.
Hmm.
Surrounded by Caribbean culture, which was really, really great and fun to me to experience the islands, even though I wasn't living in an island on an island, just
Hmm.
experiencing it and so engrossed in the culture. It was a great experience.
Well, I'll tell you what. Definitely every time I go to New York, I've been to Brooklyn, I've been to
Hmm.
Queens. Of course, I've been to Madison Square Garden too. The Knicks. I know the Knicks are the buzz right now of the city. But yeah, I've
Yeah.
definitely enjoyed my time every time I come to New York. But what was it like growing up in Brooklyn? You said Flatbush. How was it growing up
Yeah.
there?
Well, I think what's really amazing about it is that like I said, I think the thing that I absolutely adore is that my city, that neighborhood felt like, you were so engrossed in everything. Like there were all these Caribbean restaurants. There's the West Indian Day Parade. My dad played steel pan, and every Labor Day I used to see, all of my family around the time of the parade on my father's side. And growing up there, I would say I wasn't in the hood. I was hood adjacent. Like
Mhm.
you go 3 blocks back and you might see police lights and helicopters. But my block, you could leave your bike outside and come back, it'll still be there. So it was very much a interesting experience growing up, feeling safe on my block, feeling comfortable, but knowing that other people had a different life, like only a couple blocks away from me. It's just an interesting experience. I wasn't too far from Vanderveer Projects, which is, whatever people want to say about it in the 90s, the 80s and 90s. But, in general, it was a community, and I appreciated growing up there as far as my neighborhood goes.
Okay, all right. So, one thing. everyone always wanted to be, you have that one thing everyone always wanted to be, or you wanted to be, me growing up, I wanted to be a professional football player. Unfortunately, I made it to college playing football, but didn't quite make it to the NFL. Wasn't good enough. So
Ah,
for you, I know you talked about all the things that you currently do now. We're going to revisit that in the next segment. But what was
okay.
one thing you wanted to be when you grew up, when you were a kid?
So growing up, I've always been a little bit of a contrarian in a sense that I kind of liked things that I knew other people didn't like. I just wanted to do the thing that everybody else didn't think I should do. Like growing up, I played sports. I never learned how to double dutch, only because I got tired of people telling me as a girl I'm supposed to go double dutch. So for me, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an archaeologist. I
Oh,
learned what that
wow.
was. I learned, yeah. I wanted to be an archaeologist. I wanted to discover things. And then the other career path I had for myself was I grew up in a particular denomination. I'll say it, I've said it before. I grew up Seven-Day Adventist. And one of the
Mhm.
things that was challenging for me was that women weren't allowed to be pastors when I was growing up. And now that's changed in some ways, right? But back then it was like, no. And I remember saying, well, that's not fair. I'm gonna be a woman pastor. I like to talk. I was like, I'm gonna do that. And so I guess I'm still talking. My pulpit's just the stage. It's still somehow works.
All right, all right. Yeah, I know. I actually found out a lot about Seven Day Adventists a little bit more as I've gotten older. And two of the places that I enjoy going to here in Nashville, they're actually run by Seventh Day Adventists, which is Jamaica Way in Nashville and
Mm.
Cupcake Collection. So yeah, both of those places. Love both of them. Both places run by Seventh Day Adventists. Because I never could figure out, I was like, why are they closed on Saturday? Course, me not putting two and two together, didn't put two and two together. I was like, oh, okay. How did she not know that one then? But yeah, we're we're
Oh,
we're going to. Yeah, I know, right? I just completely missed it. Um, but of course, we're gonna
I'll say
we talked.
I was gonna say one thing. I think it's interesting. It was a great foundation growing up Sevens. I mean, I think the only thing is I just don't go to church anymore, so I feel bad claiming it because I haven't been to an SDA church in a while. But
Mhm.
no, it's very much still a part of my my who I am, how I live my life. It's very much a part of religion does play a big role. God plays a big role in my life, and I would not be who I am without the foundation that I got and the things that still get me through the day today. So just throwing that in there.
Okay, all right, all right. Well, we're going to find out a little bit more about you as well. You touched on your spiritual side, but we want to find out about your career and that path and all those different things. We're going to find out a little bit more about those, but first we got to hit a commercial break on This Woman Works. We'll be right back. EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash are two of the best beard grooming products for men worldwide. They help promote growth, keep your beard moisturized and soft, and enhance your overall upkeep of your facial hair. And with the new promo code MPAFC10, you can get 10% off of these products. Just go to www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. Again, that's www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. And again, the promo code MPAFC10. Again, MPAFC10, where you can get 10% off any products except for beard boxes. So treat your beard better today by going to get this the EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash. All righty, we're back on This Woman Works. Shanelle Gabriel, thank you for coming on this show. And of course, like I mentioned before the commercial break, we're going to dive into a little bit more what you do now, which is your career. So, for those that missed it at the beginning of the show, can you tell everyone all the things that you do?
I do too many things, but I'll try to narrow it down. So I'm a poet and a singer. I am a lupus advocate. I have lupus, and I speak about it everywhere as much as I can about what it's like to live with lupus and also advocating for it in different ways. And I am a communication specialist, which looks different depending on who you ask. In education spaces, that's me teaching how teachers how to communicate with different types of students, and understanding backgrounds and varied ways to make sure that we are bringing every voice into the room and experience into the room. And then in more corporate settings, it's just how do we communicate with each other as employees, So I do those kind of things and working with schools and programs. So that's
Okay.
those are the main buckets.
All right, all right. So I've got to ask, when did you first gain interest in like communications and poetry and singing? How did how did that kind of just like boom, this is it?
Well, communications. I honestly, in high school, I was trying to figure out what I was going to major in, and I knew my dad, my Caribbean dad, was not helping me pay for a music degree. I started out as just a singer. That's what everyone in high school knew me for. I sang at all the events and I sang in church and I, sang solo, led out in praise and worship, all of that. And so I thought I was gonna be a singer. And while I was doing a lot of cool things in studios locally, I just felt like the industry seemed just really, really toxic and it didn't seem like a place for me. I learned that very, very early. Although I had like really great people that supported and encouraged me. So I said, well, okay, I don't want to be a music singer, so I'm going to get into communications. And that's what I majored in college, which was radio, broadcast, public relations, marketing, kind of those that all lumped into one. And then I got bit by the poetry bug around junior year when a friend of mine, Jamie Lee Lewis, started an open mic. And for the first time, I saw somebody performing poetry, and I was like, ooh, I feel like I could do that. I feel like I should do that. And then that was it. I was hooked. I was performing poems everywhere. And it just led me to working in a lot of different spaces. I just kind of went head first. I did HBO's Deaf Poetry Jam. That allowed me to tour like right out of college, maybe a year after graduating college. I was on the road full time for about 6, 7 years. I toured full time, and then I went into education, educational spaces, and that was an amazing time. I love working with young people. It was like pretty much I need to get off the road. What is the other thing that I care about that I could do that I would love? And I was like, I like working with young people. So I went into the education field and nonprofit field. Did that for a number of years. And about 2 years ago, transitioned out of my last role as executive director of an arts nonprofit named Urban Word. And just went back to doing all of the things that I love doing. I was still doing it all that time, but it was like, I think I need to pour everything into this because I feel like God called me to use my talent in a bigger way, and it's hard to do that when you're pouring your talents everywhere else. So here I am.
Okay. All right. All right. So, definitely an interesting winding journey as well. So, and you did talk about, God and, spirituality being kind of a central theme of your life. What with that being said, and all the things that you've done, um, you know, different moments that you went through, um, when did you know you were where you were supposed to be in those moments?
Hmm. Well, I believe in, sometimes you move when you don't really know what's going on. Like even jumping into poetry, it was like I didn't know that it would have taken me this far. I didn't know that it would have led me all of the places I have. I performed at Carnegie Hall. I performed in the Vatican. I've performed so many different places, 45 of the 50 states. I had no idea that poetry would do that. And I think for me, the way that I found it, it just kept aligning. Like I'm a person that I don't plan. Like, people have 5-year plans. I remember
Mhm.
one of my friends like barked on me because he was like, "You should have a plan for your life." And I was like, that has never been me. I've always just seen something in front of me and been like, "Ooh, I feel connected to this. I should do this more. And as I do it, the way just always like follows. Like even I speak like for example, here's it. I was already performing. I'd already started falling in love with performing. I was working on my first album. This is 2006, end of 2006, the year I graduated. And I was working at a corporate bank, Bear Stearns. I'll say the name. I was working at Bear Stearns. Only old people that are like into like finance might know that name. But I was working there and I was using that money to pay for my album. That's the second CD right there. That one, Start Something.
Okay.
And what was crazy was I would literally work. I did not like being there. It was the most boring thing in the world. It's like admin work. They tried to promote me and they said, well, you would have to work one Saturday a month. And I'm like, I'm performing on the weekends. Like, no. And they're like, well, we're going to come to the raise and we're going to give you all these benefits. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. They ended up letting me go. And so the staffing agency tried to transfer me. And I remember I was getting my hair done. I had a show that night at the Five Spot in Brooklyn, which I don't know if it exists anymore. But I had a show that night, and the lady calls me. I'm under the hair dryer. She's like, "Hey, so yeah, they let you go. I guess you didn't accept the promotion, and they wasn't really feeling that. But I have another place I can put you." And I was like, "No, I think I'm good." And she was like, "No, no, no, no. We have a place for you. Like, we have a job for you." And I was like, "No, I think I'm good." She was like, "Well, take the weekend and think about it." And I'm like, "Okay." And I knew I had one gig. The Alphas at Syracuse University. I'm an AKA. The Alphas looked out
Mhm.
and were like, "Yo, can you host this show? And we're gonna pay you for it." So I was like, "Okay." So I have my bills paid. Let's see what happens. And the next month, I got booked for like these conferences that allow other people to book you. I don't know if they still exist either. This is like decades ago at this point. But I would have had to quit my job anyway. And then in November, Bear Stearns crashed when the market crashed. It no longer exists. So I would have been out of a job in November anyway. And so I think I've had these moments where something says, you know what, just stop. And just if something pulls away, it's because it's supposed to pull away. And it's gonna lead me to the next thing. And I've been a testament to that. And I just see it happen multiple times throughout my
Wow, that is amazing, amazing, amazing. It's done by God. That's all I can say on that one.
life.
Now you mentioned that, of course, who for again, for those that missed the beginning of the show, you can go back and rewind it back and, pick that up. I can't do the little noise. I got tongue tied. But but you know, you mentioned that you are an advocate for lupus as well, and those that don't know, you do have lupus. So, can you kind of tell everyone kind of when you first got diagnosed, and kind of how do you handle everything that you do and balance your self care in there as well?
So I was diagnosed in my junior year of college. So I have had lupus for 20 years now, which is crazy. But I was diagnosed my junior year of college. So while I always say, while everybody was trying to plan for their life, I was trying to figure out how to navigate this disease. And for those that don't know, lupus is an autoimmune disease where the immune system is overactive and attacks the body itself. And May is actually Lupus Awareness Month. But
Hey,
yeah, we did that. You didn't even know. Look at that. Look at the synergy. But lupus, it causes a series of inflammation throughout the body. It causes joint pain, hair loss, chest pain. It's just causes different things depending on who it is. Hope you don't hear that. But with all of that said, having lupus has forced me, it always forces me to make sure I think about self care. And I can't lie, I do struggle with it sometimes because I'm so excited about all the things that I get to do that I don't always go, oh, wait, let me feel that. But lupus will remind me the next day that I should have sat down. But yeah, lupus has been a journey. And for me now, it's like I have to really I have to listen and learn my body. I don't want to have flares every time lupus flares up and then it calms, but lupus can flare up, and flares usually caused by stress. Stress is a main cause of it to flare up. And so I try to work out. Working out helps so much. And it really, really is my safe space to like really just get everything out. So I do yoga, I meditate. And it means a lot to me to be able to do these take these moments for myself and to be able to be mobile. So I suggest to everybody, figure out what your self-care is. Like I said, working out is mine, or being active in some way, passively active. I love a Peloton bike. Um, Maybe playing
Mhm.
the ratchet music. I'll be up there like on the bike. But those are the things I just try to build it in, like it has to be built in, and just listen to your body. I have to do it because I have lupus, but I tell everybody out there, it's everything that I have to do for myself. I think everybody should do.
Mhm. That's right. That's right. And I just have to salute you for all the great, wonderful things that you do. Doing it and still battling lupus as well.
Thank you.
That's an incredible achievement. And I definitely have to salute you for that and all, just and being an advocate as well. Um, so just had to show you props and give you, salute you for that. But of
Thank
course,
you.
during every journey, I know lupus is a hurdle, but I know there's other hurdles that come along with just the general field that you're in and things like that as well. We're going to discuss those, but of course, we do have to take another commercial break on This Woman Works. We'll be right back.
A shift. A shift is something that happens and changes the dynamics. And that's what happened when Garrett Logistics was born. After 10 years as a sales pro in the logistics world of sporting goods, John Garrett decided to pivot to the world of freight and start a brokerage. So you're saying to yourself, why trust Garrett Logistics? Well, Garrett Logistics helps shippers improve overall workflow, along with increased on-time pickup and delivery percentages. Last-minute loads, multi-drop pickups, and more are part of the services with Garrett Logistics. They're available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., all times Central Standard Time. So give them a ring at 615-400-8484. That's 615-400-8484, or you can email them at john@garrettlogistics.co or visit their website at garrettlogistics.co. Garrett Logistics, where the motto is, it's not just freight to us, it's your business.
I was all dancing.
All right. All right, and we are back on This Woman Works. Now, before we went to commercial break, I did mention that, of course, the next thing we talk about is hurdles now and advice. Of course, can't forget the advice. So, what I want to ask you is, what has been one of the, besides, of course, the day to day, but what has been the biggest hurdle in your journey that you've had to kind of overcome, and how did you overcome it?
Mm. The biggest hurdle, and I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I mean, I think having lupus has been that. I think that it has forced me to be really intentional about a lot of different things. But just anything. Uh, Lupus would be such a cop out because I talk a lot about, just in general how it's shaped my life, how much I had to build my life around it. One of the things that made me get off tour and go into education, as much as I loved it, was getting sick on the road and traveling. And this led to a lot of times we as people, as women, Black women, as humans, we over identify with the things we do and think that they are who we are.
Mhm.
And so for me, having to get off the road, there was a part of me that felt like I was not transitioning, I was giving up. And it was a really sad season for me. Feeling like I was like, okay, this is not working. It was working so wonderfully. I was making a good living performing, and then the well somehow dried up. And I was just trying to figure it out, and rent was due, and and bills were due, and I just had to figure things out. And that was really hard for me to say, okay, I need to transition into something different. But Chanel the poet, I've been the poet. Like, who else can I be? And I actually went through that later on, at after working in education for a number of years. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm the executive director of this nonprofit. If I leave here, who will I be? And it's almost like you end up holding on to things that you're supposed to let go of or transition out of, even if it's for a while. You almost hold on to it so tightly that it hurts. And you're supposed to, these are things you need to let go of. And so that identity crisis, I guess, is the thing that has been a hurdle, because I will sometimes, we will attach ourselves to things and think that these things define us, and we'll forget. And for me, I forgot a number of times, like, who I am, like the fact that I'm going to be good wherever I am, that if I change spaces or locations, I'm still Chanel, and I'm actually pretty amazing, and that's not me bragging. I hope everyone feels like this about themselves, and I want everyone to feel like this. You have a unique set of gifts that you have skills, you have abilities that you need to nurture. And if this place is not it, you got to let it go so you can continue to move forward in your purpose. So I want to say that's the biggest hurdle, was just getting out of my own way, and letting go of things that no longer served me or needed to be put down for just a little while.
All right. Amen. The doors of the church are open. All right. All right.
Pass the plate.
There you go. There you go. All right. Now, I've got to ask, along any journey, there's going to be someone that provides some advice that sticks with you. So, what was the best advice that anyone has ever told you along your journey?
I love the four agreements that, I think honestly, it's not even all four. It's one of them. There's one of them being, the big one to me is don't take anything personal. Like, I think being able to do that with really hard situations as well as the simple situations, like the things that somebody interacting with you in a negative way. But I also think about the big things like, parents, things that they might have done in your childhood that you want to hold on to, and you feel like they wronged you. And they might have. I'm not taking away from, the struggle. And I definitely, I was raised by a woman that was not my biological mother. And although I got to know my biological mother a little bit later and enjoyed her presence in my life, there was a lot of turmoil in my childhood as a result. Um, I think the only reason why I continue to be hopeful and joyful and stay optimistic has been, I knew as much as it affected me, it wasn't about me. And I think that those are the things that I hold on to whenever opportunities pass, and I don't get the opportunity, or something happens, or maybe somebody does something negative to me that affects me moving forward. I have to, like, take a breath. It's not me. Maybe it's something I can do to help in the future, right? There's something I can work on, but these situations, sometimes it has nothing to do with you. Somebody had a bad day. Somebody was raised in a different way than you think they should have been. And so I take that with me in the professional world, the personal world, the romantic world. Like, it's hurtful, but it's probably, it's not just they are harming me. It's also they got their own thing, and it helps me move forward with everything and not hold on to things as long as I could.
Got you. Okay. So, you've done a lot of things. You've taught, you're the communications expert. I'm gonna say communications expert. Poetry, you sing. So what's the best advice you would give to someone that may want to travel along the same path that you have?
I tell everybody, 360 degrees of knowledge. Like, if you want to be an artist, this is me. Definitely focus on your craft. Focus on, like, making things that you're excited about, things that you care about, things that you love. but also understand how it works around it, how the business works around it. What helped me tour in the beginning was when I was in college, I was in charge of booking artists for our campus. So when it came to me, like trying to get on a tour at a college, I knew what they were looking for. I understood the business of it, right? And so, like having at least a surface level understanding of the business. You don't have to, everybody's not built for business side of things. I recognize that. But I think for me, what has made me successful or made me, come along this far is I understand how and why things happen the way they do. I'm not only excited about performing, but I'm also excited about the opportunity to connect with people and network and see opportunities before other people see them and see ways that I can help them, not just what I need because I want to just perform on a stage, but also, hey, I see this hole, this gap here. And that's part of how I got into the communications part of it was, one, people kept asking me to do it, but I kind of realized, listen, there's a gap. There's something here, something I do when I'm performing translates over here. And teachers need to know how to do this. And that's the business. I perform at schools. Hmm. What are the things that I know that I can impart to some teachers? And that's how I built these other things that I do that all support me as a full-time creative. So I just say, if you want to do that, I said, don't think focus on your art. Do not focus on the money. The money's going to come. Like you got to focus on making sure that what you do is impeccable. And be a business person. You got to be, you treat it like your business, like it's your job.
Hmm. Okay. All right. All right. I hope you all were taking notes on this episode of This Woman Works. Shanelle gave us a great, background story of how she came to be who she is, how she's battled, and also the advice along the way. But, we cannot end the show with just talking about all the business stuff and things like that. We got to have a little fun. And that's where the speed round comes around. We got 10 random questions to allow the listeners and viewers to get to know you more. Are you ready?
That's fine. I'm ready.
All right. What's your favorite movie?
It'd be between The Muppets Take Manhattan and Coming to America.
Oh man,
I'm a
both New
big
York
kid.
movies. Okay.
I'm a
Hey,
queen.
okay. Hey, I still remember that movie I still remember that part. Yeah. I still remember the part where they go outside and he's on the balcony and I can't really say that on these
You,
airs, but
you too.
yeah, that one. That one right there. All right. Your favorite song in rotation right now?
Lucky Day, Roll Some More. It's just such a
Yeah.
calm melodic song. I just want to roll my window down.
Hmm. I've got some Lucky Day songs. I've got his newest album. I listen to that album quite frequently. So yeah, he's
Mm.
definitely
Oh,
definitely.
and Leon Thomas. Anything by him. Leon Thomas.
Oh yeah.
He's somebody else that grew up Seventh-day Adventist. Fun fact.
Oh, I did not know that one. Wow. He's one of my
Yeah, he used to play
favorites.
junk. He used to be a Pathfinders at another church. I remember meeting him then, but we were.
Hmm.
But yeah, Mutt is a great song. But he has such good
Yeah.
music.
Yeah, Mutt, and then what's the other song he's got with I cannot remember the song he's got with Masego. He's got a song with
Oh
Masego too.
yes,
I love that
just
song.
everything.
Love that.
And
Yeah. He doesn't make a bad record. He does not make a bad record.
that's it. Ain't nothing bad on those albums, right? So yeah.
Okay. All right. Your favorite childhood memory?
Favorite childhood memory, I would say, oh my gosh, there's so many childhood memories. I remember taking pictures with my sisters, my three oldest sisters. And it was like for the holidays. It was and I was a little one. I'm little compared to my sisters. They were all a little bit older than me. And I had two missing teeth and it was Christmas. And it was one of those things where you take the picture and you can see yourself while you're posing and you
Hmm.
press the button. And I don't know why I kept making faces at the camera and cracking myself up. So the picture they have, I don't even think they have a picture. The picture is literally me going like this. with with like cheese and looking at this guy laughing with two missing teeth, but my whole mouth is open. So I think about that. That was just a funny funny memory. Because they were like, Shanelle, smile. And they were like, forget it. We're just gonna let her do what she's doing. And the picture they picked was that one with me just laughing with my head thrown back. They're all formal and I'm like that. That's probably one of my favorite memories. This is a memory that came to mind. I have so
Okay.
many. I'm a Cancer. I'm nostalgic. I live in the past. So this was a really hard question.
I got you. I got you. So, your favorite artist currently,
Favorite artist currently, like somebody now
either
or
somebody
like
now
just in
or could
general?
somebody in the past in general?
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I was like, okay. In general, you know who one of my favorite artists is? Drew Hill. I was talking to somebody about this. I absolutely love Drew Hill. Mainly for their first two albums.
Hmm.
Um, and runner up would be Old School, no doubt. Gwen Stefani with
Hmm.
the band. Not I
Right.
didn't love her solo, but the writing was so good on Return of Saturn. So I would say
Hmm.
that those are my two favorite artists. Um,
Hmm.
Close runner up is Faith Evans. Um,
Okay.
Dang, I'm just like one on the list more. I'm like Richard Smallwood, Fred Hammond.
All
I'm
right.
coming up with a playlist. I can't. I don't know. It's hard. Stevie
Hmm.
Wonder. I don't know. Some really
Now I
talented
remember.
artists out there.
Now I remember. Of course, don't speak. Don't speak. I know what. Yeah, I know that. No, now. That one,
Love
and then
it.
you got what was the other? Not the other one from her, but who did you mention? Now I'm forgetting names. Anyway, never mind. Let me
Faith
stick.
Evans. I like hearing yours, Chris. But I mean, I appreciate that you know that
I know those
everybody
songs.
got Don't Speak.
I know all
Everybody
them
don't
songs.
speak. But
Hmm.
like, nah, bathwater, simple kind of
Hmm.
life. Oh,
Hmm.
yes. Okay, that was the whole Gwen Stefani. But Drew Hill,
Yeah,
I will say that
yeah.
the
My
first two
knee hurts
albums,
thinking
not
about
one
Drew
song.
Hill. My knee hurts thinking
Really?
about
Oh,
Drew
you
Hill right
tell
now.
me.
Yeah.
Do the
Oh,
dance.
oh my goodness, my knee is throbbing right now thinking about it. But what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
Oh, it was Day of the Dead. Is that the Dawn of the Dead? That's the
Okay.
movie that's the game that you play. They made a movie
Mhm.
of that.
Yeah.
That was the only movie I've ever walked out of. It was like so bad. It
Hmm.
was like the problem was they had it was like a bunch of kids landed on an island and it was supposed to be a spring break and everybody was dead. Everybody was gone. And they were just like, "Oh my god." And it was like the jock, the cheerleaders, and like the nerd.
Mm,
And then they were like,
this
it's a
sounds
zombie
bad.
land. And the lady gave them all guns, and all of a sudden everybody knew karate and knew how to do backflips. Shoot, it was so bad. I watched it with
Oh
my
my
niece's
goodness.
uncle, and I remember
Hmm.
we both was like, I'm leaving. It was so bad.
Oh, my head hurts thinking about that one. Favorite food?
Chocolate chip cookies.
Okay, can't go wrong there.
That
Um,
that was an easy question.
favorite restaurant?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I like a lot of food. I'm a foodie,
Mhm.
so I don't even think there's an answer for that.
So everything is
Favorite
the answer.
restaurant. Yo, everything. Like notable ones. One of my friends, Stanley Neron, he has a Haitian restaurant out in Elizabeth called First Republic. I could
Hmm.
eat the basa with the Creole sauce and some black rice any day. Um, uh, Pies and Thighs in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. They have this amazing biscuit. It's like a hot
Hmm.
honey on a bit chicken on a biscuit, but I'm pescatarian. They got a vegetarian version, and it's so good. But I'm a
Okay,
foodie. I love food. I love food. Aunts and
I'm thinking about
uncles
that
in
one now.
Brooklyn.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's some good food out there. I can't pick one place.
Well, next time I'm in New York, I'm gonna have to consult you on any food choices I make. Um,
Got you.
favorite vacation?
Favorite vacation. Yeah, last year I went to the Maldives and
Oh wow.
it was so peaceful. It was the resort was like it felt so curated but untouched. It was
Hmm.
absolutely beautiful, like literally jumping off into the ocean right from the back porch. Like that was
Hmm.
amazing. So I think that that was definitely hands down probably the best vacation I've ever gone on.
Okay. All right. So these last two questions, they're always fun. All right. You got
Oh
dinner
boy.
with one person, dead or alive, to pick their brains. Who is that person?
I never answered this question. I've heard it a billion times asked, and I've never had to answer it. I would say my first thought is, oh, this is so sad. It would be between if I had to pick like somebody famous, I would
Hmm.
probably want to sit down with Michael Jackson.
Okay.
I'd love to have a conversation with him. The
Hmm.
other person I think of that would I'd want to see more than Michael Jackson would be my mom's. My mom, biological mother and my stepmom, they both have passed on. And I would
Hmm.
love to have dinner with them because I feel like after they passed, I had so many more questions that I didn't ask them when
Hmm.
they were here. I would have loved to do that. But you know,
Okay.
they lived through me, so I just continue to move forward, and that's how I look at it.
There we go. There we go.
So,
So last question. Who would play you in a biopic?
Tabitha Brown.
Oh, I can
Uh,
see it. I can see it.
everybody says everybody. I've gone places and people have said, "You're her, aren't you?" I'm like, "Her who?" I'm thinking they're talking about me as a poet, and I was like, I feel like they're a little more excited. It's not because of what I do. They think I'm her. I went to a hotel, I was checking in, and the lady was like, "Just letting you know, I love all your work." And I was like, "It could be because I'm a poet, but I have a feeling she thinks I'm somebody else." And I was like, "You think I'm somebody else?" And she looked again and was like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "You thought I was Tabitha Brown?" She was like, "Yeah." I don't know. I cheekbones, smile, natural hair. We're pleasant people. She commented on my
Mhm.
page once and actually emailed me and said she liked my work. It made my whole
Wow.
day.
Wow, wow. I can see why that would, but of course, we have reached the end of the speed round. Those 10 random questions are all done. And again, I want to thank you, Chanel Gabriel, for coming on the show, telling us all about your journey, your life, and how you came to be who you currently are now. If you can, tell everyone where they can find you on social media and any other things you would like to tell the good people.
Definitely. Well, I am on all of the social medias. Shanelle Gabriel. I'm not creative. That's my government name as well as my artist name. So that's Shanelle, Gabriel like the angel. All one word on Instagram, TikTok, uh, LinkedIn. You can find all of my work on Spotify, anywhere that any streaming platform that exists. You can find my music and poetry. I mix the two a lot. And if you are interested in having me come and perform anywhere, feel free to holler. I love being able to, I love to travel. I get to travel all the time. It's very nice to be home. I'm just getting home after being gone for 2 weeks. So yeah, feel free to holler at me or if you have any questions about lupus, happy to talk, happy to help. So yeah, I think
All
that
right.
those are it.
Mhm. Awesome, awesome. Thank you again for coming on the show. For those that don't know, I am the host of the show, Mike Patton. You can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter. I will not say X because the only X I recognize is DMX and Malcolm X. So yeah, there we go. Um, so you can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Mike Patton 82. It's MikePaton 82. You can find me also on Blue Sky, same name. On Instagram and Threads, that's THA, not THE, _general_MP. And of course, you can find This Woman Works on all listening platforms, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, you name it, we are there. And we are also on YouTube, where you can see our smiling faces on the Mike Patton Network. I want to thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode of This Woman Works, episode 50. Yes, we made it. We're half a century old now. Yes. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of This Woman Works. We're out. Peace.